with all the chaos going on around the ACC and the risk that that conference could implode, is there now a scenario where the Big 12 could actually land the two top brands in that league, Florida State and Clemson? Has that door been opened? Has that door of opportunity been opened? That's exactly what we're talking about, and we're going to do it after this word from our sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com or come in today to the home of friends and family pricing, only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you. What is up? Welcome in. Come on in and make yourself comfortable. Build yourself up to the bar and let me pour you out this shot of top shelf college football content. You have landed yourself on another episode of Couz's Corner. On tap at Couz's Corner today, we're once again talking about the ACC potential implosion. What's going on in that conference. This time it all centers around Florida State and Clemson. And this time, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how it's possible that these two schools could potentially end up in the Big 12. I know what you're thinking. Couz, there's no chance. Well, I'm thinking of it. Remember the movie Dumb and Dumber? When Lloyd was talking to Mary and she said, there's like a 1 in a million chance we would get together. And he's like, so you're saying there's a chance? Well, I'm telling you, there's a chance. And I'm going to explain why in a minute. But first, I want to give you the background of why I came to the conclusion I'm going to come to. We'd all heard in reports just a couple weeks ago that Florida State and Clemson were if and when, more likely when they get out of the ACC, whether they settle, whether they get through the court cases, whatever happens, when they get out, because they're going to get out, when they get out, that they're going to the Big Ten. We heard Brett McMurphy say it in an episode with Paul Feinbaum. We heard Greg Flugar over on his show, College Football Speak Around the Corner. We heard him talk about it. We know he's been on top of a lot of these stories from the get-go, so he's been accurate on a lot of his predictions. He said it was chalk. If Florida State and Clemson get out of the ACC, or when they get out, they're going to more than likely going to the Big Ten. He didn't say it was imminent, but that's the way things seem to be leaning. And in his make-believe sports book, he said it was the chalk. That's where he had confidence that's what was going to happen. Well, Greg, in a recent episode, pumped the brakes a little bit on that prediction, on that chalk. Now things appear to be changing according to his sources. And the reason he was confident that Florida State and Clemson were going to go to the Big Ten is because he felt like the Big Ten and their vision to get a school or to get some schools in the southeastern part of the country into their league, they wanted to do it in somewhat of a hurry. They wanted to do it as quick as possible. And Clemson and Florida State would obviously be a lot easier to get than other schools like UVA or UNC because of all the stuff going on in the ACC. And because Clemson and Florida State are the only two schools that are making an effort to get out at this point. So they would obviously be the first two available. Well, now apparently it appears, according to Greg's sources, that the Big Ten's not in such a hurry to grab Clemson and Florida State because of multiple reasons. Number one, all the changes going on in college sports, and even specifically in the Big Ten right now. They're going to a 12-team playoff now. They want to see how that plays out. How many teams can they get in? What's it look like? You know, how's this 5+7 format going? How does it look? You've got the House case. You know, the settlement from the House case still has to be determined. Are the courts going to approve that or not? Will they have to pay this $20 million per year to every student athlete? You know, all of that. They're trying to figure out all that stuff. Will they face more lawsuits down the road? There's just so much stuff to figure out that they've decided it might be best to just wait, not be in such a hurry. Let's let the 2024 season play out, maybe even the 2025 season. Who knows? And see what it looks like down the road. Also, and this here is the big piece to this, and then I'll get into where the Big 12 is tied in. Another reason they want to wait is, according to Greg's sources, his Apparently, they want to wait and see what happens with Notre Dame and North Carolina. Those apparently are the two big fish. Now, it's not a huge surprise. Obviously, we've all known Notre Dame's the big fish, but we know Notre Dame wants to stay independent as long as possible. But if this ACC does blow up, does implode, Notre Dame may need to find a home. They may not want to be tied to the ACC anymore. So that might open the door for them to join the Big Ten. That they would obviously take precedent over Florida State or Clemson. And the same with UNC. The SEC, it's been reported by multiple people that the SEC and Big Ten both have UNC at the top of their list. They want to be in the state of North Carolina. They like North Carolina as a university. They like their athletic brand. They like the value they bring, not only in football, but even more so in basketball. And then we also know there's an academic piece to it, whether we like it or not. It's college presidents making these decisions, and that matters to them. There's a brand value piece because of the state they're in. It's a growing state with a growing population, a young population, all of that stuff. It's stuff that, as fans, we may look at and think it's ridiculous, but we're not the ones making the decisions. But those are the reasons that apparently the Big Ten wants to wait, or at least are willing to wait. And I know what you're asking. Well, Couz, what in the world does that have to do with the Big 12? Well, Florida State and Clemson have already filed these lawsuits. They are wanting out of that league, of the ACC. They want out. They made it clear they're suing, trying to get out for a much lower amount than what's in the quote unquote grant of rights or in the conference bylaws or whatever. So if the Big Ten is not in a hurry to add them, what happens if they do settle or are able to get out of the ACC and don't have a home to go to? What if they can't get into the Big Ten? We've heard that the SEC may not want them because they may not want duplicate teams in Florida or South Carolina. Would that open the door for the Big 12? And when you think back to the reports last week about the Big 12 talking to CVC, a private equity group, about potentially pumping some money into the conference. I think the report was like $800 million to $1 billion, pumping that much money and investing in the Big 12. You know, them changing the naming rights, trying to find revenue. But let's focus on the private equity piece first. $800 million, if you just take that math, equals $50 million per team in the Big 12 today. 16 teams, $50 million a team, $800 million. That's a lot. That's a big chunk of change that they would get in one lump sum, potentially. What if, let's think about this for a minute. What if Brett Yormark's plan is this? Let's give these schools in the Big 12, let's don't give them the full $50 million. Let's give them, I don't know. Let's think of a number here. Let's give them $30 million apiece. That leaves $320 million left over after they all get their $30 million. You could split that two ways. $160 million to Florida State and $160 million to Clemson to help them pay their way out of the ACC potentially. Think about it. Or let's just say the Big 12 gives the current members $20 million. Now, this is in addition to their $30 million in revenue. Let's say, okay, we're going to give them $20 million per school, just enough to pay the first year of this house case settlement, right? They get 1 year of that right off the bat, and hopefully they can pay the rest of it off of revenue opportunities they get from joining with this private capital firm, right? Because they're supposed to help them make more money. Well, adding Florida State and Clemson would help you make more money in the future, I would think. But let's just think about that for a minute. Say they just give them $20 million, the amount of the house case. That equals $320 million. Well, you've got another $480 million left over of that potential $800 million investment. That would be $240 million per school for Clemson and Florida State. That's right around half of what they would owe to the ACC to get out right now. So if they can settle for half, that's enough to get them out. And even if it's not the full amount, Florida State could get their own private equity money to get out. Maybe Clemson does the same thing. They add it together. You can join the Big 12. Or what if the Big 12 uses private equity money, or even the extra money they might make off of selling the naming rights, that $3 million a year per team, whatever that comes out to. What if they take that money, pay Florida State and Clemson a signing bonus coming into the league, or they take that money, give them an unequal revenue share? I'm not a huge fan of that, to be honest. I don't think that would be necessarily a good idea, but it's something that could be done potentially. Brett Yormark, he's aggressive. He likes to think outside the box. He could do something like that. Adding two schools like Florida State and Clemson would be super valuable to the Big 12. It would automatically they would automatically be your two top brands coming into the league. Are they quite the level of Oklahoma and Texas? No. But by gosh, they're pretty darn good brands. You're talking 3 to 4 million viewers a week on television. Schools who won national championships in the past decade. Clemson's won 2 of them, as a matter of fact. 2 teams in the southeastern part of the country, a part of the country which bleeds college football, loves college football, eats up college football. Very passionate fan bases. Very active and engaged fan bases. Getting those 2 schools in the Big 12, in my opinion, would raise the Big 12's value astronomically. You could maybe even bring in a streamer to string the extra games that bringing them into the league would bring. So they could get a full share, pro rata share, plus potentially get extra money, whether it be to buy their way out of the ACC, whether it to be a signing bonus, whatever the case may be. I want to know what you think. Is this a far-fetched idea? And, back to the Dumb and Dumber analogy or comparison. Yes, Lloyd had a 1 in a million chance of being with Mary. I don't think this is quite 1 in a million. I still think it's highly unlikely to happen. Not quite 1 in a million, but I do think it's unlikely. So I'm not predicting this to happen, but I do think it's a scenario we need to consider. Maybe that's what Brett Yormark is trying to do with this private equity money. Maybe he wants to expand the league and try to hit that home run. No offense to Virginia Tech, Pitt, North Carolina State, Louisville, some of the other schools that have been rumored to the Big 12 or speculated. But if you can get Florida State and Clemson, that is an absolute grand slam. And heck, maybe you can even go grab, maybe then you can entice Miami to come over with them and add 1 more school, get you to 20. Who knows? A lot of options on the table if you can grab those 2 brands. I want to know what you think. Is this a cockamamie, harebrained scenario, or do you think it's something that might actually make sense? Also want to give a shout out real quick to my paid VIP members of this episode, and they are Hellbilly, C. Dotson B 210, Tax Sprint, and Tom Reinhardt. If you want to join this club, should be a join button right below the video here. You can join that. If you don't see it here, when the video's over, you can go to my channel homepage. Right beside my beautiful profile photo, you will see a join button. Hit that button. It shows you the 2 levels that I offer. Pick which one you want to be a member in. Hit join, bada bing, bada boom, you're in. The money comes right out of your bank account. Very easy. $2.99 a month or $4.99 a month. You get access to members-only content, early access to some videos. If you're a club level member, the $4.99 level, you get some videos with limited ads. You get special shout-outs in videos and things like that. You get preferential treatment in live chats, live streams. I always try to read the comments of the channel members first. So those are just some of the perks that I offer. But don't worry, even though the money comes right out of your bank account, it's not a long-term commitment. You can go in and cancel at any time. So be sure to become a Couz's Corner channel member today. It's also a very, very easy way to support my work here if you like what I'm doing. If you want to support me free, you can do that too. All you have to do is hit the thumbs up button if you like this video. Drop the comment below that I mentioned. Let me know your thoughts. Share it with your family and friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm on my way to 10K. I'm inching closer every single day, but I need your help to get there. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't. If you like this channel, if you like the kind of content I provide, which is West Virginia, conference realignment, and the Big 12. That's the things I talk about. If you like that, you will want to subscribe here and make sure your notifications are on so that you get notified when I upload videos or when I go live. In the meantime, there's a video right here you can check out. that's also related to conference realignment and the ACC. I hope you have a top shelf day. And don't forget, as always, to Q Country Roads.